2016, the best NBA season of all time. Yes, I said it, and I don't even think it's close.
After doing extensive research, I have come to the conclusion that this season is unanimously the best. Before we get into this video, I'd like to remind y'all to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's completely free, takes 1 second to do, and it really helps my channel grow. According to YouTube statistics, less than 10% of you are subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it if you would check. Without wasting any more time, let's break down this season. Enjoy, y'all!
In this video, I'm going to recap the 2015-16 NBA season and take a minute to enlighten y'all.
2016 was such a great NBA season that many great moments got overshadowed. So in this video, I'm going to cover every notable thing that happened so we can all realize just how good this season was. To put this season's greatness into context, let's go over the honorable mentions. First, we got the 1997-98 season. Jordan had arguably the greatest finals moment ever, Kobe was coming into his own and made his first All-Star game, Tim Duncan was a rookie, and it had lots of great playoff series such as the Miami-New York rivalry. The Pacers took the Bulls to 7 games, and Sprewell was out here choking coaches. The next honorable mention is most of the Magic-led Lakers and the Bird-led Celtics 80s seasons. This was the greatest rivalry of all time, but not one particular season stands out. And finally, the 2010-11 NBA season. LeBron had just formed a team seeking to take out the league by storm, but was kept in check by the old guards in Boston, LA, and San Antonio, the abundance of strong teams looking to make the next leap, such as Dallas, Orlando, and New Orleans, and the up-and-comers like Memphis, OKC, Portland, and Chicago. The regular season was nuts this year, with many MVP candidates, dramatic midseason trades such as Melo and D-Will, and a literal bench protest where only 6 players played in a game.
All of the seasons I just mentioned are the very best and are all notable for their own respective reasons.
But even these seasons don't stack up to the 2015-16 NBA season. To recap the 2016 NBA season, we're going to start with the NBA preseason, make our way to the All-Star break, travel to the end of the regular season, and finish it all off by taking a trip through the 2016 NBA playoffs. Starting with the preseason, everyone and their mother had the Warriors as the favorites. They had just come off an unbelievable championship run and showed no mercy. There were a few woke people who had the Cavs, Spurs, or Thunder as the favorites, but they were seen as delusional by the media and the public. Starting off the season, the Warriors were 24-0, having the best start of a season by any team in the main North American professional sports leagues. Fast forward to Christmas, we had the most iconic Christmas Day game in history. Warriors vs. Cavs. This game was scrappy and a nail-biter, with the Warriors closing out the Cavs 89-83. The Cavs then fired their coach midway through the season, even with a 30-10 record. This sparked all sorts of controversy, and Cleveland's culture wasn't looking good going into the All-Star break. Speaking of the All-Star break, this was the greatest All-Star Weekend in league history. Starting with the absolutely stacked three-point contest that did not disappoint, featuring Curry, Booker, Clay, Harden, Lowry, and even JJ Redick. They had the best three-point shooters compete, and it was arguably the best three-point contest we've ever seen. Clay ended up taking the dub with a 25 in the final round. I've never been the biggest fan of this event, but man, this one was entertaining. The All-Star Weekend followed up the hype with the 2016 dunk contest. Little did anyone know, this dunk contest would go down as arguably the greatest ever. Personally, I think it was the second best dunk contest ever, but regardless, it was nothing but spectacular. Featuring Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, both absolutely abusing the rim, every dunk was something special. The creativity in this dunk contest is unrivaled, and every one of Aaron Gordon's dunks was revolutionary. But even he couldn't keep up with Zach LaVine's consistency. Zach seemed to never get under 50, and it led him to taking the dub. The AllStar Weekend finished it up with a great All-Star game. Just like most years, this game didn't disappoint. Not much can be said about it because it's always a good event. After the All-Star break, the hype of the Spurs vs Warriors was rising. Both teams were racing for the first seed, and the potential of a playoff series with the two teams averaging 70 wins is something special. Ending the season, Kobe had his infamous 60-point game and went out a legend. Rest in peace to the Mamba. The Warriors finished the season with a record-breaking 73-9, surpassing the Bulls' record of 72 wins. Along with this, Curry was named the first unanimous MVP, cementing himself as an all-time great. Everyone was certain the Warriors would sweep the playoffs by storm. Moving into the playoffs, there were many exciting series. In the first round, we watched the intense Raptors vs Pacers series, going to 7 games. This series gets swept under the rug due to the even greater playoff series at the end of the playoffs. This was a gritty series, both teams averaging under 94 points per game. DeRozan, Lowry, and Valanciunas versus Paul George. PG dominated this series, averaging 27.3 points per game. The next highest scorer was DeRozan with 19, but unfortunately, PG's efforts were not enough to defeat the hungry Toronto Raptors. This was Toronto's first playoff series win since 2001, and this exact series was the start of their winning era. Also in the first round, we witnessed another intense series, the Heat versus the Hornets. The 2016 playoffs was the last time the Flash showed his greatness. At age 34, he was on his last limb, but nonetheless made some very entertaining series. Going to 7 games, the Heat vs Hornets was a very close matchup. Kemba Walker was coming into his own and was an absolute menace. Despite the Hornets being awful, Kemba gave the Heat a run for their money. Just like the Raptors and Pacers, this series gets forgotten about when talking about the 2016 season, but it's still such a notable series that we have to talk about it. In Game 1, the Heat blew out the Hornets by over 30 points. Game 2 was also taken handily by the Heat, 115-103. But then Kemba turned on the Jets. The Hornets won the next 2 games, tying the series up at 2. We all know Game 5s are the most critical in a playoff series. Whoever wins Game 5 takes a commanding 3-2 lead, and no team wants to get down, especially the Heat. Miami had already lost 2 straight, and giving up Game 5 at home would cripple their chances at winning this series. The stakes were high, and this game was energizing. The lead changed the entire game, and the final minute was something special. With 1:14 left, with the Heat up 1, Luol Deng has a straight line to the basket and hurls the worst lob I've ever seen. The Hornets break out, and Courtney Lee has a straight breakaway to take the lead, but the 34-year-old Dwayne Wade stuffs him in dramatic fashion. If the Heat had have won this game, this block would go down as an all-time great. 2 possessions later, and Courtney Lee hits the dagger with 25 seconds left to take the 2-point lead. With 2 seconds left, Wade gets obliterated in the paint, but no foul call. The Hornets take Game 5, despite Kemba only having 14 points. Dwayne Wade put up 25, but it wasn't enough. The Hornets had won 3 straight games and had a 3-2 lead, and Game 6 was in Charlotte. The odds weren't looking good for Miami, but they pulled through. With 50 seconds left in Game 6, Charlotte is down 90-88, and it's Miami ball. Dwayne Wade hits 2 back-to-back daggers to finish the Hornets, first a 3 and then a fadeaway J. The Heat had a Game 7 at home and took full advantage, beating the Hornets by 33 points. The Heat and Raptors already gave us 2 Game 7 series in Round 1, so why not another Game 7 matchup in Round 2? This series was another close one. Both teams were evenly matched at all positions, and even with Wade's valiant effort, the Heat couldn't get it done. At this point in the playoffs, there had already been 3 Game 7 series, and the OKC Thunder had upset the 67-win Spurs, but we hadn't even scratched the surface of these playoffs. The remaining 4 teams were the Cavs and Raptors out east, and the Warriors and Thunder out west. LeBron dominated the Raptors, and took the series in 6 games, while we had an all-time classic series out west. After already upsetting the 67-win Spurs in 6 games, the Thunder had shown how star-studded they were. The Thunder already had finals experience in 2012 and were hungry to get back. Meanwhile, the Warriors were reigning champs, and everyone knew how much of a juggernaut they would be when all cylinders are firing. The OKC Thunder took a commanding 3-1 lead in the series, blowing out the Warriors in the last 2. Durant and Westbrook were putting on a masterpiece, and everyone thought it was over. But the Warriors turned on. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson transformed into the highest percentage shooting duo we've ever seen. In Game 5, Westbrook had 31 and Durant 40, but it still wasn't enough to edge out Golden State. Curry and Klay were shooting the ball so efficient that it didn't matter how good Durant and Russ played. In Game 6, Klay dropped 41 points on 61% from 3. Curry also dropped 31 on 43% from 3. Even with these unbelievable performances, the Warriors still barely won Game 6 by 7. This just shows how formidable the Thunder were as an opponent. And we all know what happened in Game 7. Curry and Klay combined for 57 points on 57% from 3, and the Warriors won by 8. This was one of the most memorable comebacks in NBA history. So the Warriors came back from a 3-1 deficit in the Western Conference Finals. Little did they know, the exact opposite would happen to them in the NBA Finals. Arguably the greatest NBA Finals of all time, this series did not disappoint. The 73-9 Golden State Warriors were awning to finish off their record-breaking season with the championship. Meanwhile, LeBron James had the pressure to deliver Cleveland's first championship in any professional sport in 52 years. Just like the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, the Cavaliers were down 3-1 to start off the series. It seemed impossible to knock off this record-breaking Warriors squad, but everyone forgot who they were dealing with: LeBron James. Without a doubt the greatest 3-game stretch by an individual in league history. LeBron turned into a cyborg. In Game 5, LeBron dropped 41, 16, and 7, with 50% from 3 and 53% from the field in a W. Along with Kyrie's 41 points, this was a performance for the record books. In Game 6, LeBron handed Golden State another L by dropping another 41 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds, with 3 blocks and 4 steals on even better efficiency than Game 5. And Game 7, LeBron dropped another 27 points, 11 assists, and 11 rebounds in an extremely close W. This Game 7 is the most memorable finals game in recent history, and it was full of era-defining moments, including Kyrie's dagger on Steph and LeBron's infamous block on Andre Iguodala. LeBron and Kyrie delivered the Cavs a championship in dramatic fashion and cemented LeBron's legacy as an all-time great. If this doesn't convince you that 2016 was the greatest NBA season of all time, I don't know what to tell you. Thank you guys so much for watching this far into the video. I'd really appreciate it if you left a like. As I said earlier, it promotes this video to other people. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post all sorts of basketball related content on here, and I'd love to see you guys hop along for the journey. On screen will be some more videos for you guys to watch, and with that being said, I hope you have a great day.